Hi, this is Alicia Lavender with the FSW Writing Center, and in this video, we're going to talk about how to structure a paragraph. When you're thinking about how to structure your paragraph, the first thing you need to remember is that no paragraph happens in isolation. It's part of the larger whole of your paper, and it needs to play a specific role within that whole. For an academic essay, that usually means that each individual paragraph needs to support the thesis or the main idea of the essay. With that in mind, let's look at the elements you want to include in each paragraph. There are 4 general elements: the topic sentence, the evidence, the interpretation of the evidence, and the wrap-up or transition to the next paragraph. Let's look more in depth at each of these. You will start with the topic sentence. This is the first sentence in the paragraph, and it establishes the main idea. It's important that the topic sentence be narrow and focused while still covering everything that is presented in the paragraph. Finally, the topic sentence also needs to connect back to your paper's thesis. For example, let's say my thesis is, horses endure as the most valuable farm animal due to their strength, trainability, and long lifespan. I want my first topic sentence, the first sentence in my paragraph, to take the first point in my thesis and expand on it. That might look like this. Over the centuries, horses have been selectively bred so they are perfectly suited to carrying, hauling, and other feats of strength that are vital on a farm. Now that I have my topic sentence, I need to bring in evidence to support or help prove it. Most of the time when we talk about evidence, we're referring to outside sources, but for certain kinds of essays, your evidence could also be your own experiences or ideas. For my farm horse example paragraph, I'm going to use an outside source. In fact, horses are so powerful that engines in cars and other machines are described with a unit that compares them to horses: horsepower. This familiar measurement is based on the research of Scottish engineer James Watts, who calculated that one horse could lift 33,000 pounds 1 foot into the air in 1 minute. Notice how I led into this quote in my own words and cited it at the end, both of which are important and are covered in our quote integration video. After the evidence, my next step is to provide an interpretation. It's not enough to just throw in evidence. I need to explain why it is here and connect it back to the main idea of my paragraph. Here's what I might say about that quote. With those numbers in mind, it becomes much easier to understand how many tasks a horse could contribute to. Regardless of what a farm produces, from livestock to crops to raw materials, there will always be something heavy to haul, and the horse's ability to lift thousands of pounds makes it the most reliable choice to do that hauling. And that the evidence and interpretation parts of a paragraph can repeat many times. For longer essays, you will need multiple pieces of evidence per paragraph, and you should always, always, always follow your evidence with some kind of interpretation. After you've gone through all your pieces of evidence and interpreted each one, it's time to conclude your paragraph. You want to wrap up the ideas you've discussed, and if this paragraph is in the middle of the essay, transition to your next paragraph. To do that, you should refer back to the main idea stated in your topic sentence to remind readers of the point of everything you just covered. To transition, you can bring up something that will prepare the readers for the next paragraph's topic. Think about words or details that can be referenced to make a connection. For my horse paragraph, I'm going to say this. Of course, it is possible for machines with their high horsepower engines to do the work of heavy hauling. However, horses have the additional advantage of being extremely intelligent, which means that the farmer can direct their strength in unique ways that would be impossible with a machine. This goes back to my main point for this paragraph, that horses are strong, and it also mentions the second point that I brought up in my thesis, which is going to be the main idea of my next paragraph. Horses are smart. Here is the whole paragraph put together. I've highlighted the topic sentence in red, the evidence in yellow, the interpretation in green, and the wrap-up in blue. Notice how there are 2 yellow and 2 green sections. Depending on how complex my essay is, there could be a lot more in the next paragraph. Just make sure you always pair them together. Thanks for joining me today to talk about paragraph structure. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to the FSW Writing Center.